Hello, hey there. So,
Hello.
hey, could you do you mind running this? Because I mean, I could try. I've got an outing today, so I'm actually at a park and I'm tethering through my phone. So, um,
And what you need me to do?
yeah. So let me see if I could connect in and tether through my phone. If I can't do that, then let me just see if this works or not. Um, it dropped off the Wi-Fi. Maybe. Oh shoot, I don't know. Okay, it's trying to connect to my phone. Okay, I've got internet access there. All right, I'll stop talking about this. It looks like it's connected. Yeah, so if I think maybe when once we get the maybe have you share show the slides that are on the Google Drive. Um, that might be the best thing to do because, like I said, I'm going through a skinny pipe here. Well, let's see how many folks have joined. Just us, I guess. All right, yeah. Yeah, so I guess the one thing I wanted to check with Todd, and if he doesn't join, I'll send him a note. Um, the from the tracker, and I won't share the tracker today. Just he wanted his slides moved before Jeff. I guess that's fine. I mean, all right. So I still have to make that change. Is to I think that yeah that was it. I think that's okay. So I'll scoot it around accordingly. And I'll ping them about getting their pictures and basically say, hey, please have your changes in by Friday if you have any changes to your slides. And if they need to send it, I need their pictures and their whatever you want.
Yep,
Yeah, and
I
you
owe
tell
you
me
that
what.
too.
Yeah,
I'll send that to you. So yeah,
yeah.
Jeff, and if you could get your profile info, that'd be great.
Will do. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, cool. So I guess um, I for pretty much today is just talking about the webinar slides. I've actually got a I'm at a you know an organizational outing here, so I'm sitting in the parking lot. It's a little that's why Dave's sharing here today. But yeah, so as far as the slides go, if we could get whatever changes you have um, ready by, end of business Friday, that'd be really helpful because then I could take a quick pass on it and clean up pass and everything. Is that something you can, you know, basically finish up by Friday?
Yes, I can do that.
Great, great. Yeah, and so yesterday we had the webinar and it went really well. We had 26 people, including the speakers. So it didn't get as many folks as we had hoped for, but at the same time, understand it's actually this week is super compute, so I guess that might be you know taking up all the oxygen.
Yeah,
So
that's a decent outcome for the topic and what else is going on in the world.
yeah, so sort of glass half full thing. We had people interested and had showed up, so it's it wasn't just us, so that's the main thing. And and then we'll have the replay, so hopefully that will folks will watch that replay when they get a chance, and then hopefully show up on the second, and we'll see how that works out there. Yeah, so other than that, I don't really have anything else to cover today. But yeah, I mean, as far as the slides, I think Dave, you had asked about what slides you were going to be picking up on. So I think it's right where we start the spec deep dive intro. So if you look, it's right after slide 13. So I think you'll pick up on 14. Yeah, that's the intro.
Okay,
Yeah, so you
got it.
start there and you
All right.
run through to And so I need to move Todd's. I guess yeah, he had wanted his stuff moved up sooner. So you'll go to system reset, and then Todd's going to talk about the cooling, telemetry, and LED controls. So I need to move those slides up, and then Todd will pass it to Jeff after the LED control. So right now it's not ordered in the correct way. Yeah, it's ordered correctly for you, Dave, but like
Right. So
base
Jeff starts at 28, at least the way
um
it's ordered now.
right. Well, you'll start at 29. So you'll finish 28, the
Oh,
system
Jeff will
reset.
start at 29. Okay, so
Yeah.
14 to 28. All right, got it.
Yeah. And then a 29 is where Jeff picks up.
Okay.
But like I said, I need to double check with Todd to ask him, if the if we can keep it in this order or if he really wants it to be sooner for some reason. I don't know if there was something where he said he couldn't attend the full time, so maybe that's the reason why he moved it up. He wanted it moved up. So, and if so, that's fine. I'll move it up. Let's see, is Todd there? No. Okay. So yeah. So, you know, so yeah, Jeff will start. We'll have the LTPI, and that's where the next one, and so yeah, and Jeff, feel free to condense things down. I know there's just a lot of slides. I do know that we'll try to gloss over some items. But yeah, and I still have to. There was one picture I refreshed to make it less washed out. Um, if you think any of these other pictures in your slides need to be, changed from the lighter blue just a black, like that one up there, just let me know. You know, and if any of those need, the Visio drawings need improved there.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the worst one, that's acceptable to me.
Okay, yeah, there was one that was pretty bad that you mentioned last time. I fixed that one. So if we just kind of go through it here real quick, each slide by slide. Um, yeah, so you know, again, feel free to do any condensing. Keep going. That one looks okay. That's fine. Improve them however you see fit. So the next slide, this is a lot here. It's up to you if you want to try to, if you just leave it as is and say, well, I'm not going to, walk through every single state. It's up to you how much you want to dig into. We'll kind of do a time check here, I guess.
Right.
If you think you have plenty of time, you can walk through it more. If not, then just gloss over it.
I'll definitely lean toward leaving the slides there and glossing over during the
Got it.
presentation for offline reviewers and then
Yeah.
getting the most data out for questions and feedback.
Okay. Then the next slide is the handshake flow. This is definitely one I think we do want to spend a little time on just because, that's a really a new thing, that isn't in another spec. But again, I'm leaving it up to you, Jeff, how much you talk through that one.
Okay.
All right, the next few slides, those look fine. They're sort of, and then the spy one, if you think this looks fine, then I won't try to, I won't update anything.
Yep,
Um,
acceptable.
okay, great. Okay, the next one, that's just the protocol.
Can
And
gloss
we talk
over
about,
this. Yeah.
yeah, definitely gloss over the protocols, reads, and the next one, the writes. And then, same thing with this. If you think it looks fine, then we'll stick with it. Otherwise, I can try to improve it a little bit.
This is effectively the same thing as the
Yeah,
spy. I don't know, just,
right.
yeah, so
Yeah,
it's not,
it's
okay. And
readable.
then same with that.
Okay.
Okay, and then the
And
harder
pesty.
parts here, the pesty.
Yeah. So, up to you if you want to adjust any of this stuff here, um, or make improvements. Um, yeah, this looks okay.
Yeah, it looks okay so
Yeah,
far.
it's okay. Okay, this is one where I put a mentioning the power on allow. I don't know if you want to, put a little snap of the register or if you just want to, you know, I'm not sure what you want to do on because, but I put that little note there for you to take a look at, what you want to do with that particular control register.
Sorry, I missed the question.
Okay, so I have the note there. It says mention power on allow. That's a reminder if you can, if you want to do a little snap of the register or if you want to just, mention it and cut that out, I'll leave it up to you. But to me, I think that the power on allow, the power policy bits, or that's something new that isn't in the MPEST spec. So I figured that's something to kind of mention, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, agreed. Calling out that there's an association there
Right.
between this and the other piece.
Yeah, so I'll let you, cut that, put something else there if you want, or adjust that note, but that's just a note for you to, you know, take care of that little bit on that slide there.
Okay, yeah, I'll change it to a note.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And then so there, this one, this looks pretty good. And then the next one, yeah, it looks pretty much okay. Um and the Flex IO. This I think, yeah, this is the one where I changed the next slide, I changed the picture to improve that because it was too washed out. Yeah, that. So I fixed that.
Excellent.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, that I think we're solid there. And then improved a little bit of this slide. So I think we're because I actually had the same slide fundamentally in the presentation yesterday. So I figured I might as well just give you the better slide. Um,
Thank you.
oh, sure, you're welcome. And so that's that one. This I didn't do anything with. It's the same. And you let me know if you think that that's okay or if that particular little diagram needs to be improved.
That matches the others.
All right, so we're good to go there. So this is where Todd picks up. I think these pictures are okay. I'll ask Todd to take a look through. I'm going to move this block up. So I think that's what he wanted was from this slide through what he's going to talk about. Move that to because I think he did say he had to leave earlier, so he can only be there for the first hour. So, but
Okay,
this, we can go through this, and like I said, I'll ping Todd to let him know to have it checked out by Friday. All right. So this slide looks fine. Slide looks fine. Yeah, this looks okay. Telemetry, I mean, these pictures look fine. And then that finishes up. This is the last slide that Todd's got. And this is where I'm going to talk about discovery, and I still need to decide what I want to put in the following slide. But this was from the webinar yesterday. I was going to provide more details in this webinar about how the BMC uses the FPGA during the discovery process. And that's what I'm going to do in the next slide, which I haven't finished writing up, but I'm going to finish it up, probably today or tomorrow at the latest. And just basically put, a bullet, list of here's what, the FPGA, how it's involved in the discovery process, with the BMC. Um, and I think that's fine there. This I'm going to give a brief overview on the FPGA JSON. This will be in a spot where kind of a time check spot and say, well, in the interest of time, I'm just gonna gloss, I'll give you some highlights of this, but if people really want a deep dive into the whole JSON, thing, then we could have a separate, tech talk at a later date. That's kind of the idea. So we'll see time wise, because I know we got a lot of slides. I may just, gloss over all this stuff here, like the JSON deep dive. And I'll mention this and again, and if we're running low on time, I'm going to say, yeah, we could have the JSON deep dive tech talk, which would include all this JSON stuff. And so that's good there. The access methods, I'm just going to mention this. Um, there was one thing I might, think I put in the next slide that I didn't talk too much about in yesterday's. No, I'll probably bring that in. There's a slide that I had. I'll probably put that, I'll put that in here. But again, it's a time check thing. If we're running out of time, I'll probably will just gloss over it. Then the creation tool, I'll talk a little bit about that. Um, basically, what we're planning to do with that. And then the following slide, I actually need to put a little bit more here. This is kind of weak, so I'm gonna put a bit more there and improve it by Friday. And then I think that's pretty much rounding out everything. Yeah, I'll do the work stream schedule and then finalize with the future work and call to action. And I hopefully by then, hopefully well, you know, they, on the day before, on the Monday, I may have, if we can get the the tech talk from yesterday up on a place somewhere publicly, then I would add that in here. Otherwise, I would just give them a, hey, the tech talk replays are going to be available soon, you know. But I think, right, part of the thing is the folks who are, helping with that, coordination are at supercompute, so it's a little challenging to get their attention right now. So I may not know until that Monday the 1st. That's really it. Anything missing? Anything else we need to make sure to add in?
So
Or
this is Q&A right here, right? So,
yeah, that we stop there, and hopefully
okay.
we're at a good. We had a good about I guess 15 to 20 minutes of Q&A. That I think we ended up at about like I think we had about 20 minutes left, and we had some questions. So I think we dropped it like 5 minutes early. So I think you know based off of what happened yesterday, I think it's you get a small handful of questions, and they're good questions. So we spent some time talking about those questions, but I think it was a lot of silence too. So I think people are just like, wow, this is just a lot of material to absorb. So the main outcome is having these tech talks, having the replays, and having people aware of it enough to start digging into it, so that basically we can start getting some participation from a public industry perspective. So even if we don't get a ton of questions, that's fine. So if we only end up with 15 minutes for questions, that's still pretty good. So because I thought that was plenty of time for the questions.
All these backup slides?
Yeah, they're backup slides. So it's only if people, ask additional, dig into any additional
Okay.
questions. But we didn't need to use any of our backup slides, yesterday. Um, so yeah, um, I may put a couple more backup slides just in case, that I had in the other deck. Um, if people start asking more detailed questions about, you know, the whole purpose of this, which I am going to kind of try to go through some of that, that actually Tim went through yesterday, and he did a great job going through that. So I'm going to go through some of that because I imagine that some people will have not seen the first tech talk, and maybe not even the I hope that they'll have already seen the OCP Summit presentation, but there's no guarantee of that. So I'm going to go through some of that, and with this was the caveat that this was dug into further in the first tech talk. But yeah, so yep. So I think that's pretty good. I can't think of anything else. And anybody think of any other content that we really should include, or are we good to go on that?
Looks good.
Great, great. Yeah, and if you think of anything, let me know, or if you have some questions, then just ping me. Um, but yeah, and anything else on this? Otherwise, this is the only thing I had for today because, like I said, I'm going to be at this, you know,
Enjoy your
company.
outing.
Yes, thank you. Yeah,
As rare as they are, we need to enjoy
right, right. So, but anybody have anything else before we wrap up?
Nope. I don't have anything else for today.
All right, well, great. So I canceled next week's. I'm going to be out. Um, and we'll pick back a regularly scheduled time after we do our webinar.
I got
Um,
cheers.
but yeah, I don't have anything else. So thanks everybody, and
Thank you.
I guess I'll like I said, I'll ping Todd, and hopefully if Friday we're all solid, then we won't, but if we think we need to meet the Monday before, let me know. Just I'm talking about the speakers, then we can meet up if necessary.
I got
Okay.
cheers.
Well,
Bye.
thanks
Thank
everybody.
you.
We'll talk
Cheers.
again next time. All right,
Thank
bye.
you.
Thanks. Bye.